learn some stories, means how to read it, as well as we are going to understand how to analyze it. Most of the time what happens, we do read but actually we do not know how to analyze it. So it is very important for us to understand how we can analyze a story and reflect on it. The most important part is to reflect. Whenever you are reading something, you have to reflect on it. Reflect in the sense, you need to understand it, right? So today's agenda is to read the story. First thing first is this, that we will understand how to read the story, and then we will understand how to analyze it with various kind of things like question and answer, summary and meanings, and so many other things, right? So let me share the screen. Okay. Okay. So as you can see in my screen, today we are going to read the story Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Many of you might know this story, many of you might not know, but our agenda for today is to understand how we are going to read anything. Yes, so whenever you are reading anything, if you are reading it in a proper manner, it means that the listener should be able to frame a picture, a image about your story in their mind. And you also should be able to frame the story about the you should also be able to frame the picture about the story in your mind. It's not like we just keep on reading blankly without understanding it. Yes, we have to understand the story and read it. Now for understanding, the first thing first is this, that you have to follow all the punctuation marks. So whenever there is a full stop, you have to pause a little more. Whenever there is comma, your pause should be little less. Whenever it is a question, it should sound like a question. If there is a dialogue in between, your way of reading should be like that, it is the dialogue, somebody is telling the same thing. Otherwise what happens in a story, most of the part is of narration. So whenever you are narrating the story, it should sound little different than what you will be reading about the dialogue. So whenever you are reading the dialogues, it should be little different than the part of the narration. Yes, so let us start reading this story. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived together in a house of their own in a wood. One of them was a little small wee bear. One was a middle sized bear, and the other was a great huge bear. One day, after they had made porridge for their breakfast, they walked out into the wood while the porridge was cooling. And while they were walking, a little girl came into the house. This little girl had golden curls that tumbled down her back to her waist, and everyone called her by Goldilocks. Goldilocks went inside. First, she tasted the porridge of the great, huge bear, and that was far too hot for her. And then she tasted the porridge of the middle bear, and that was too cold for her. And then she went to the porridge of the little, small, wee bear and tasted that. And that was neither too hot nor too cold, but just right. And she liked it so well that she ate it all up. Then Goldilocks went upstairs into the bedchamber, and first she lay down upon the bed of the great huge bear. And then she lay down upon the bed of the middle bear, and finally she lay down upon the bed of the little small wee bear. And that was just right. So she covered herself up comfortably and lay there until she fell fast asleep. By this time, the three bears thought their porridge would be cool enough. So they came home to breakfast. "Somebody has been at my porridge," said the great huge bear in his great huge voice. "Somebody has been at my porridge," said the middle bear in his middle voice. Then the little small wee bear looked at his, and there was the spoon in the porridge pot. But the porridge was all gone. "Somebody has been at my porridge and has eaten it all up," said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Then the three bears went upstairs into their bedroom. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the great huge bear in his great rough, gruff voice. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the middle bear in his middle voice. And when the little small wee bear came to look at his bed, upon the pillow there was a pool of golden curls and the angelic face of a little girl snoring away fast asleep. "Somebody has been lying in my bed, and here she is," said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Goldilocks jumped off the bed and ran downstairs, out of the door and down the garden path. She ran until she reached the house of her grandma. When she told her grandma about the house of the three bears who lived in the wood, her granny said, My, what a wild imagination you have, child." Yes, so this is how we are going to read any story with proper voice modulation, following all the punctuation marks. Yes, so this is the first time. So whenever you are reading something for the first time, remember you have to read it slowly, because you don't know the story, and it happens whenever you are reading something for the first time, and if you are a beginner, it will be little difficult for you to understand it. Yes, so first time whenever you are reading it, try to read it slowly. Yes, and then the second time when you are reading, read it with reflection. Here I mean to say that you have to understand whether your pronunciation are going correct. Yes, so whenever you are reading for the second time, you have to check on your pronunciation part, and then also you have to mark the words for which you would not know the meanings, right? So whenever you are reading for the second time, just try to mark all these things, whether you are pausing on wherever there is a comma, whether you are your way of reading is like a question when it is a question mark in the story. Yes, so in this way you have to analyze it, and then if you can analyze, you will see that stories are always in past tense. So whenever if you feel that you will narrate the same story to somebody else, try narrating it using past tense. So it will help to, it will help you to improve your grammar as well. So nothing is as good as reading, writing, listening and speaking. So these are the four basic things which can help you to speak in English. Yes, so let me read it once again for you. Here I will keep on instructing you where what would be the pronunciation, what would be the meaning of the words. Okay, so today's story is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived together in a house of their own in a wood. Yes. So can you see the pronunciation of word here? W-E-R-E, word. This is word, not where. Many people, they pronounce it as where, but actually this is not where, this is word, right? Then this is bears, not beers. Many people, they pronounce it as beers. This is not beers, this is bears. Wood. Wa sound should come whenever there is W in beginning of any word. Wa. Wood. Wood. This is not wood. It will not start with the oo sound. It will start with wa. Wood. One of them was a little small wee bear, and one was a middle sized bear, and the other was great huge bear. So, in this part of the story, they are introducing the characters who were there in the story. And so, everywhere they have used comma because one by one they are introducing the characters. So, if you read it without any comma, without any full stop, people won't understand what you are talking about. Say, for example, if I'm reading the same sentence without any comma or full stop, how it will sound? Yes, one of them was a little small wee bear, one was a middle sized bear, and the other was a great huge bear. Did you understand anything? No, I think, right? And that's why it is very important for us to pause whenever there is a full stop or a comma. So one of them was a little small wee bear, right? So here we have got a semicolon, and then whenever there is a semicolon, we have to pause a little more. One was a middle sized bear, and the other was a great huge bear. Now you are able to understand about the characters, isn't it? So you understood that first there is a small little bear, and there was a middle sized bear, and also there was a huge bear. So altogether we have three bears in the story. One day, after they had made porridge for their breakfast, they walked out into the wood while the porridge was cooling. So, most of you might not know the pronunciation of this word. In case if you feel you don't know, write the word in Google and listen to the pronunciation, and then you can pronounce the word. Yes. And what is the meaning of porridge? Porridge is a paste kind of dish. So generally we Indians, we prepare khichdi or payasam or pongal. All those are porridge kind of things. So one day after they had made porridge for their breakfast, they walked out into the wood while the porridge was cooling. And while they were walking, a little girl came into the house. This little girl had golden curls that tumbled down her back to her waist, and everyone called her by Goldilocks. Now, what is the meaning of this sentence? This little girl had golden curls that tumbled down her back. So, this girl had golden hair, curly hair, and they were long, which went down towards her waist. Yes, so down her back to her waist, and everyone called her by Goldilocks. Yeah. So, what was the name of the little girl? We came to know that her name was Goldilocks, right? Goldilocks went inside. First, she tasted the porridge of the great, huge bear, and that was far too hot for her, right? So can you see how I am pausing? After first we have a comma here, so I paused here, and then again after great we have a comma here, again I paused. Huge bear, again I paused, and that was far too hot and hot for her, and here I paused more, isn't it? So first she tasted the porridge of the great huge bear, and that was far too hot for her. And then she tasted the porridge of the middle bear, and that was too cold for her. And then she went to the porridge of the little small wee bear and tasted that. Yes, and that was neither too hot nor too cold, but just right, and she liked it so well that she ate it all up. So, can you see in the whole paragraph from beginning till now, we have used only past tense. If you see all the verbs, all are in its past tense, like ate, tasted, all these are in past tense. Then Goldilocks, Goldilocks went upstairs into the bedchamber, and first she lay down upon the bed of the great huge bear, and then she lay down upon the bed of the middle bear, and finally she lay down upon the bed of the little small wee bear, and that was just right. So we understand from this paragraph that she tried to sleep in all the beds. First of all, she tried to sleep on the huge bear's bed, which she did not like, and then she tried to sleep on the bed of the middle bear, that also she did not find to be right for her, and later she slept on the bed of the small bear, and she found it to be right for her, to be comfortable for her. So she covered herself up comfortably and lay there until she fell fast asleep. Yes. By this time, the three bears thought their porridge would be cool enough. So they came home to breakfast. Yes. So after all these things happened, the three bears, they came home from the woods, because they wanted to have their breakfast. Somebody has been at my porridge. So can you see this sentence is inside quotation marks? Yes. So this is a dialogue. This sentence has been said by the huge bear. Somebody has been at my porridge, said the great huge bear in his great huge voice. Somebody has been at my porridge, said the middle bear in his middle voice. Then the little small wee bear looked at his, and there was a spoon in the porridge pot. But the porridge was all gone. Yes. So what happened here? The little bear, when he saw that other two bears, they don't have their porridge inside their pot, you know, then he looked inside his pot, and he got to know that there was no porridge left in his pot. Somebody has been at my porridge and has eaten it all up, said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Okay, so actually the two bears porridge, they were there, but they understood somebody has touched the porridge, and the little bear's porridge was not at all left. It was over totally. Then the three bears went upstairs into their bedroom. Somebody has been lying in my bed, said the great huge bear in his great rough gruff voice. So when the huge bear, he saw his bed, he came to know maybe somebody lied on his bed. Yes, somebody slept on his bed, and that's why he said, somebody has been lying in my bed. Somebody has been lying in my bed, said the middle bear in his voice. Yes, so the middle bear also said the same thing. And when the little small wee bear came to look at his bed, upon the pillow there was a pool of golden curls and the angelic face of a little girl snoring away fast asleep. So when the little bear saw his bed, he came to know that a little girl was sleeping on his bed. Yes. Somebody has been lying in my bed, and here she is, said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Goldilocks jumped off the bed and ran downstairs, out of the door, and down the garden path. She ran and she ran until she reached the house of her grandma. When she told her grandma about the house of the three bears who lived in the wood, her granny said, my, what a wild imagination you have, child, right? So when Goldilocks got up. She just got scared when she saw these three bears, and she started running, and she went to her grandma, and then she said whatever happened with her. And her grandma said, "What a wild imagination you have got." So, can you understand? Could you understand means what happened in the story? So, the whole story was happening in the dreams of Goldilocks. Yes, so this is how we are going to read the story. Now, how we are going to analyze the story? So if you are a beginner, try to find out questions from the story and try to answer them in one sentence. Okay, we will see some questions for which we have got only one sentence answer. For example, who was Goldilocks? You have to try and find out such kind of questions, small questions, like you have seen in your competitive exam. You get unseen passage. Yes, after the passage you get some kind of question. So after reading the passage, you again come back and you attempt the questions, you answer the questions. In the same way here, what you have to do, because you are analyzing the story on your own, you have to frame the questions on your own. Try to answer the questions on your own in one sentence. Yes, for example, who was Goldilocks? Goldilocks was a little girl with long golden curls. Now, since this is a story, our questions will be always in past tense. Who was Goldilocks? And your answer should also contain the past tense only. Goldilocks was a little girl with long golden curls. Where did the bears live? Where did the bears live? The bears used to live in the woods. Yes. What did they cook for their breakfast? They cooked porridge for their breakfast. Why Goldilocks ate the little bear's porridge? Yes. Why Goldilocks ate the little bear's porridge? Goldilocks ate the little bear's porridge because it was neither too hot nor too cold. Yes, so these are some example questions which I framed for you. But then if you want, you can frame your questions also and try to answer them, like how was the porridge of the huge bear, or how was the porridge of the middle bear, and in which bed did Goldilocks sleep. Yes, in this way you can frame your own questions and you can answer them in one sentence. If you try to answer them in one sentence, you will definitely learn to structure sentences, you will learn to write sentences. Yes, and if in case you are not able to understand the meaning of some words, go to Google, write the word, find out the meaning of those words, and then try using those words in your own sentences. For example, wood. Many people would not know what is the meaning of wood. Okay, generally we say wood means a log, lakdi ka tukra. But here it is not lakdi, it is jungle, a small jungle, we call it as wood. Can you see there is so much difference between these two things? Yeah. Porridge. Yeah, for most of us this is a new word, because in India we do not call anything as porridge. Yeah, so that's why it might be a new word for you. Again, find the meaning of this from Google. Dish containing some cereal boiled in water or milk. So already I gave you some examples of porridge, like we Indians, we prepare so many porridges like payasam and khichdi, upma, and pongal. All these are examples of porridge. Tumble, something which is falling down. So here in our story, Goldilocks' hair were tumbling down. That means her hair was so long that it was falling from the shoulder till her waist. Yeah. Enough, I have had enough food today. That means as much as required. As much as I wanted to have, I had. Over and above this I could not have. Yes, so in this way you have to find out the meanings, as well as you have to use them in your own sentences. Apart from this, you can write your own summary about the story. So for writing the summary, first of all you have to understand the story, and then summary doesn't means that you will write the whole story. You have to write what you understood from the from the story. Yes, so it is always good to write summary about everything, be it a story, be it a news, whatever you are reading. Yes, say for example about this story, I'm telling you how to write it. So once there were three bears who lived in a jungle. Yes. So another thing about summary is that you have to use your own words. It's not like you will use the words from the story, right? So there might be many words for which you don't know the meaning, but somehow you feel that this might be the meaning and you are using the same word. No, that is not acceptable. You have to check the meaning, get the proper meaning. Every word has many meanings, but you have to find the meaning which is suitable to the context of the story, right? In this way you have to write. So once there were three bears who lived in a jungle. One day they prepared porridge for themselves and went into the jungle for a walk. In the meantime, a little girl entered their home and tasted their porridge. She ate the little bear's porridge and also fell asleep. Sorry. On the little bear's bed. When the bears came home, they were surprised to see the little girl. Okay, so here I didn't include the name. If you want, you can include the name, and also you can include what all happened. Like she ate the porridge of the little bear, and then she tried sleeping in the beds of all the bears, and after that she found the little bear's bed to be comfortable, and she slept on that. Yes. So 2 3 more sentences you can include. Okay, here when the bears came home, they were surprised to see the little girl. Yes. The little girl, whose name was Goldilocks, got scared seeing the bears. She ran out from there and went to her grandma. Okay, so like this, you can write the summary of the story. Can you see? We have got such a big story. Yes, the story is so big, but our summary is small, right? It is how we are understanding the story. It is our understanding about the story and nothing else. So it is not like you will write all the languages which is available in the story. You have to write what all things you understood. So in case if you feel that in English you are not able to write, first of all you can write in your own mother tongue, then you write in English, and after that try to think the same story in English and try to narrate it as well, you know. And this is how you are going to improve your English language, your spoken part also, right? So we have got this much for today. I hope it will be helpful for you, and I know it will be helpful for you only when you practice. Yes, grammar is a part, but these are the main things which should be followed. Apart from this, in my classes, I have interactive classes with my students, so most of the time they speak and I keep on correcting them when they speak. Yes, so that is how they learn how to speak in English, how to think in English. So in but for you, as it is not possible for us to interact with each other, please follow all these steps. Yeah, and definitely you are going to improve. So thank you, have a nice day, take care.